Welcome to the RacketHive, the podcast that brings you deep into the world of badminton. I'm your host, Kenneth Lam, and today we have the incredible guest who is making wave on both on and off the court. Join me and welcome Pavan, a badminton influencer who has been revolutionizing how we learn and appreciate sport through his amazing content on YouTube. From mastering the perfect smash to building a successful YouTube channel, Pavan has become a trusted voice in the badminton community. Today, we will dive into his journey, and maybe we can learn one or two nuggets from his technical expertise and future of badminton. So, Pavan, how are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Cool. Would you like to give us like an introduction about yourself, your YouTube channel, and how you get started?
Yeah. See, it's been a very long journey, so I won't be able to cover it entirely in this
Cool.
podcast.
Just a brief version should be
Yes,
fine.
but yeah, but I've been a sports enthusiast, and like right from my age, from my teenagers or early ages, I've been a part of number of games from schools and college. And badminton was one of those games which interested me a lot. But at that time, we didn't have all those facilities to expose ourselves like we have YouTube today. So exposure was not like that. But with time, when we saw these things coming up and badminton getting popular, so I had this in mind that there's nothing that people in India mostly don't have any access to information about badminton. Maybe even if it's about the game or the products that are used, how things go about. So I started off with this YouTube channel 5 years ago, where I put up a lot of badminton products, techniques, and then little DIYs also, do it yourself things that you can just do it on your own. For example, you have products that are customized by the company, but then according to your game, you need to customize them on your own. So some techniques like that also. But apart from badminton, there are many other games that I've represented from my school, college, and I've had a chance of getting trained by world-renowned players also. So that has been it has been a wonderful journey, and I'm just loving it right now.
Cool. Yeah. So, what do you love the most about playing badminton?
See, the first thing is like, let me tell you again, it's a small background. Initially, I always had this fascination about ball games. So sort of, I don't know how I got connected with badminton because it's completely different. It's, you don't roll it on the ground or it just doesn't go, like a sphere or something like that. It's like a bird flying. So when in those days, early days, we always used to have feather shuttles until these nylon shuttles were introduced. So the sound of feather shuttles always just it's like it used to be so sweet when I used to hear those sounds. So always had this feeling that how this works, what exactly makes it work. And then of course, I was already playing badminton. So I started getting coaching in an academy near my place, and I had a wonderful coach who were probably who gave me the best tips, to live long or to stay fit on the ground with badminton. So what I love most about badminton is the first thing is the sound of the feather shuttle. Always, it is always the sound of the feather shuttle that interests me, and the way it flies. I have this fascination with birds. Maybe that is something that might have connected me to the birdies. Yeah, so that could possibly be one of those things.
Oh, cool. I guess like back in the days, shuttlecock. I mean, playing with feather shuttlecock, and compared to today, I guess you have like a lot of like things to talk about when it comes to shuttlecock. Anyway, could you describe your training habit like back in the days and today's? Like, how do you feel like the technique changed? What would that be like the posture, or would it be like a footwork? Like, what do you think is the biggest change?
Absolutely, I feel like around a couple of decades ago, the game was not the same as we see today because there's a lot of aggressiveness. a lot of agility and a lot of training that new training techniques that have come in. Because initially, like as I told you a couple of decades ago, only a fitness thing was in. A few exercises used to be a part of the regime, so that we are ready for the game. But and because of that, I feel that players used to they had used to have a longer journey, have a longer career in badminton. But probably in the recent days, I feel that techniques have changed. Game has become very aggressive, and because of that, extensive training, different, and targeted exercises, targeted fooding habits have come into place, which I feel has actually reduced the shelf life or the career of the players. However, if I talk about the game, definitely the game has gone to the next level and the next, because when I probably started playing, we used to have those wooden rackets. We never had the carbon graphite rackets then. So then things changed a lot, because even stringing, nowadays we can string more than 30 lbs, 34 lbs, 35 lbs. At that time we didn't have the those benefits. So I feel
What
there's a
was
lot of
what was
things
the
that
string tension that you guys get in the past?
you don't believe. Initially when I started playing, this was something that we didn't even know about it. So we didn't have those parameters around 23, 30 years ago. And, we just used to, tap it,
That's the
and we
feeling of
could,
it.
and yes. So, the observation of the players and the coaches was very, I would say they were so much, they had such a good eye and observation that, by tapping it, they could tell that it's around 23 or 24, something like that.
All my
Not
experience.
exactly, but yeah, all by their experience. So this is something that has come up in the, I would say, like in the Y2K since 2000 and above. And after that, this is something that has become a very common practice, and everyone is very much concerned. So probably at that time, the string levels were just about, as I understand, 18 or 19, because wooden rackets wouldn't take much of a pressure. Carbon graphite is much stronger, and we have seen that wooden rackets cracking at the time of stringing. So at that time, we didn't have those benefits that we have today.
I bet, yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So, so tell me like about some of the training habit. Like, what was the changes like that you see over the time, over the decade?
See, as I told you before, that the training has been extensive, too much extensive. Everything with time, we are focusing very minutely on small things. Also, even if it's a fooding habit or a training habit, even if there is a small nudge or a small pain, we are concerned about it. We just directly go to the physio, and we see, okay, if there is any possibility of an injury, or can he carry on or. But in my days, I would say that if we had a little nag or a muscle pull, we used to have those quick massages and stuff like that, or a medicine. And we was instructed, okay, go on the court. As you start playing, you'll feel better. The body generates heat, so you may just that muscle pain might just go away. So nowadays, there's like, very, as I told you, like, people are like too much into it. Like, they watch everything very closely. Even if it's a small pull or a swelling, they probably just stop playing for a while, or go to a physio. But the trainings at that time, like, of course, we didn't have gym facilities in 90s or 80s. So today's training exercise, I say, apart from the training exercises we have on court, those stretches, those drills. Apart from that, players are asked to go to the gym, do weight training, stretching, and even your heart rate monitoring, building stamina. So this is something that was not there. We used to have the basic drills before getting into badminton training. So there's a huge difference I see today.
Mm, yeah. I guess the recovery time, like nowadays, might be faster than the past because like there's so many medical advancement nowadays, like and then posture playing as well. And I think they might focus more on the footwork, and therefore it's going to be a bit less of an injury. And as you said, like maybe the machine training, like those Smith machine or shoulder press, that really enforce that kind of like targeted muscles area, and that could be the some of the contribution. Like I'm just curious. Like back in the days, is king seal tape is a thing? Like those tape that you put on the shoulder.
Yes, clinoscope tapes. No, yeah.
What's that?
We didn't have those. Yeah, we didn't have those kind of tapes that we have today. That stretches, because it's not that easy. You can just put it up, but when you take it off, it's really painful. We didn't have that. We used to have those crepe bandages kind of things, crepe bandages and doctor's tape. It was a combination of that. I don't remember what we used to call it, but that is how we used to tie it up, and then if there is something we are having that pain or something, we used to do that. Or we used to have those knee bracing pads which had special pressure handlings on the patellar area, so that when you move when you're into a foot front and back, your patella is something that stays protected, because that is something that I feel patella is one of the most important parts of the knee that come into play when you are in on court in all directions. So it takes a lot of pressure. And
Cool, yeah. Protection is key sometimes. I was using like my knee cover, not a knee cover, like just a like a bandage at the knee. That helps me a lot. I know when I lunge, like it hurts, but then when I have that on, it really supports my knee cover. It's not gonna go down, like it's not gonna wobbles. It really improves performance at my end. I really think about that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. How about like your achievement in the sport? Like, could you tell us about that?
Yeah, as I told you, like badminton was something that I liked playing, but initially I had this interest with the ball game, so I was much into soccer and cricket. And probably, I guess, people who are into cricket, they would know that when India won the World Cup in 1983, the captain Kapil Dev was the one who actually gave me training in the National Stadium in New Delhi for a month, because I was selected in the school team. So I had that chance of playing in the under 13, and then I also represented my district in Delhi for the first under 13 basketball tournament, where we won the silver medal. So I've been into many games here. Of course, I haven't. You don't win all matches. Of course, you lose more and you learn more, and then you get into this. So badminton was something I picked up a little late. So, but of course, at the club level, I've had a chance to win or play a lot of tournaments. And presently in India, in Delhi, where I live, I have an academy where I'm actually training people, the new kids, under 19, under 17, under 15, under 13, and under 11. So this is a group that I'm training. So probably because as I'm aging, I know that it's not easy to carry on, but this is the way that I can see badminton grow in this part of the world.
Is that the reason why you start a YouTube channel, like to educate those?
Yes. That was one, because I had the first injury, because probably I'm broken from head to toe. Everything has been broken. So I've had a number of injuries, and probably like 5-6 years ago, I started feeling that I do not have that fire on the court, because I have this thought in mind that there's a nag in the knee, or there's a pull in the hamstring or something. So instead of just getting on the court and playing, how about teaching kids who are actually looking at to me, then definitely would say, like, this is something we love about you. Your backhand is good, your forehand smash is good, or your placements are very nice. How do you do this? So I got a chance and I just took it as with my YouTube channel.
I like it. Like that. That's another way to contribute to the sports. Like
absolutely.
To educate people and to really teach the youngster. What's the vision for the channel future?
I'm sorry?
What's the vision, like in the long, a bigger part vision when it comes to the channel?
Yes, About my channel, yeah. See, my channel is, it's a reflection of what I used to think, but there has been a lot of changes in my channel because I take a lot of feedback from people on my academy, or people who comment on my YouTube channel, and that is how I've started making changes. Initially, I used to do product things and a little bit of techniques. Now I've tried to bring them on court, give them a real feel, and as much maximum amount of products and the variety of products. And for example, like, let me give you an example. For example, we have a range of rackets weighing from 75 grams to 85 grams. Letting them know how each gram affects your game, affects your game. What will be its impact? How is it going to impact your smash, or maybe your defense, or rallies, or something like that? So, as I told you, as training has gotten extensive in badminton, so have I tried to improve and detail more on my channel about badminton. And I
Mm.
probably feel like I've not thought anything big about my channel in the future, but all I understand is that I am going to be connected with badminton, and there's something that I am always going to teach or make people aware about badminton.
Yeah, that's something that really like helps a lot. Like the industry definitely needs someone else like to contribute
Yeah,
on
right.
like educational side or content side about badminton, but I just keep playing and playing. What
That's
kind of challenge do you face like when you're building your online presence on YouTube?
okay. Well, there's an old saying, or an old line, that you cannot make everyone happy. So what I do is I just collectively check all the comments and understand what's actually the trend. Number one, number two, what actually is the requirement? Because what I see on YouTube, there are many badminton channels focusing on badminton, but most of them are actually more into trend. They're not focusing on the actual need of badminton, which is lacking, because everyone is like, I want to be popular, or I want people to know that I know this or that. But it's the major thing is that you need to put it right. You cannot just educate or teach anything that is not right. Okay, maybe I may have
Mm.
a lesser lesser area of improvement, or maybe a lesser area of social media connected to me, but something that doesn't convince my heart or my feeling about badminton, which is not right, that is something I don't teach people, and
Mm.
this is I want to stick to.
Yeah. Haters
Yeah.
gonna hate. Like there's no really right. There's no any right or wrong answer. We're not talking about round earther or flat earther. It's all about like having our own opinion, just express ourselves
Right, right,
in
right,
a
right,
way that we
right.
think that it contributing to the industry.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. How do you see like badminton is evolving in India, Southeast Asia?
Well, see, I see a lot, badminton has a bright future. And probably I see almost every week there's a new open that's going on. Right now, I was having a look. I was just watching a Hilo Open that's in Saarland, Germany, that's going on. So I
Yeah.
see this the exposure. There's so much. Like, a couple of decades ago, we used to have probably just a couple of players from this country, that country. Now I see there's so many children coming up, and they have such lovely technique. They are so systematic about things. They're so eager to learn many things. And this, I feel it has, there's a lot of bright future. And probably in Southeast Asia, I feel like not only South Asia, in Southeast Asia, it's, badminton is kind of a religion, I guess. If we talk about, it's in China, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, that everyone is like in Chinese Taipei, and Hong Kong. It's like religion kind of a thing. So people are like, they're too much into this, and I see the future in India also. However, like, there's a lot that needs to be organized in India. because mostly, as I told you, like there's a lot of trend that's followed in India, but hardly 1%, 2% people are actually into that thing, carry on for a longer time and learn. And but I still feel that things have changed drastically in the last 3 4 decades, drastically.
Well, you might not have exposure to the Western side, like, but what do you think about the Western side? Does the Western side of badminton carried by the Asia side and that influence to play, or do you think that they have their own influence by themselves?
No, see, I feel that they have an influence from South Asia, which traveled over the years. And probably, there was just one player from Denmark at one, if I remember, Peter Gade, then Victor, yeah. So then now, like, as I told you, like, I was watching Hilo Open, and I had, like, there was so many people from Denmark, so many girls coming up. So, of course, the influence was from Southeast Asia and Asia. But then, for example, Peter Gade and Victor Exelson, they have been such big ambassadors of the game, and they've introduced so many people in their academies, and that is how this has become very popular. And I feel that yeah, it's it has a really bright future in Europe and in Western and in American continent as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think we can sort of gauge like how popular is badminton getting nowadays by just looking at the badminton Federal Shuttlecock price. Like the demand, the supply is just not catching up with the demand. There's like a
Absolutely.
major surge right now on the Federal Shuttlecock. What do you think about the China? Do you think China have a bigger craze badminton or India? What do you think?
I feel the craze of badminton, and as an overall, let me just, put it in the
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
I feel that China has definitely more. They've their infrastructure, because they have been into badminton, I understand, much before than, of course, India was into it, but they had much more reach, and much more discipline, and that is what I see, because I've traveled to different parts of the world, especially when I travel mostly to Canada, and I see that here in academies, I feel there are a lot of Chinese influence here, and they have they're really into disciplined, constructive badminton games. They're not just playing just because they like to play or something. They're actually disciplined and focused on it. And this is the same thing when I if I compare it with India, I feel that China has more influence, and they're more into it compared to India. They're more
Right.
competitive. Yeah, competition is much higher, and I feel that products that the products developed by China, of course, they're more than what we find in India.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna ask you some of the golden nuggets that our audience can learn from you, like as in like a badminton beginners. Like, what are your top 3 tips that we can focus to improve our game, essentially?
Okay, like when we talk about beginners, right? Or
Yeah, as in
you're
for beginners. Yeah.
okay. There are many factors, and there are many factors to look at it. First of all, there's a very thin line between liking and passion. So passion is something, there's very, you can differentiate it. When you talk about, liking and passion can be very similar. So it's when somebody has an interest in badminton, if I find them, it is the hunger to learn it is something that is the first thing. If there's anything, not about badminton, if anything, if you have any interest in it, you have the hunger, that is the first thing. If you have the hunger, then the training, the beginning part can be easier, because the child is going to pick up vertically, is going to pick up vertically things, whatever we are going to teach him. So training is something which is the most important part. I understand that holding the racket probably comes at a little later time, when you are introduced to an academy. First, you need to tone up the body, need to work on the fitness. Once that is done, then we start with the racket holding, and then we start with the technique of how to hold, how to punch what, how to do what. Then we have those shadow trainings, then drills, and then as you go above, go ahead, then you have different kind of drills that you walk into. This is something. This is very basic. And there's one thing I want to point out, that I have probably like more than 90% people come to me and ask me. They say, I'm not able to hit this. I'm not able to play like this. Should I use a lighter racket? So, this is something I always say, light racket is, that till the time you do not have that arm strength, your wrist strength, no racket is going to help you. So my tip is that when you start, you should have a slightly heavier racket in your hand, so that
Agree.
you get, yes, so you get that strength, get that flow, then
That's
probably anything is easy for you, right?
Yeah, I agree. That was such a nice question that you have there, because I get asked a million times as well, like while I'm playing, like in most of the beginner clubs, they would tell you like, oh, 8080 Pro is lighter, 100cc is heavier. Should I just get 8080 Pro? Like those sort of things, those sort of questions. It really like depends on people play style, and you're correct. Like that's how you really build up your strength on your wrist, and then that's how you build better smashing
Absolutely.
power in the long run.
Right.
I mean that's such a nice tip that you have there. Like, do you have any? That's the second tip, right? Do you have a third tips that you can give to the audience?
And then with your if you're having a racket, when you're not in the academy, you're at home or anywhere else, wall knocking is the best way to improve your agility. Just take a wall in the corner in your house, in your backyard, and with that heavy racket, start knocking it. Initially, for a couple of days, you'll find the shuttle, the birdie going here and there. And probably after a couple of days, you'll find that consistency with that birdie coming to you when you hit it on the ball. So that is going to, improve your agility. This is something that is very important. Number two is, like, before you walk into the court, of course, when kids come to the court, we definitely have them do stretching exercises. But if a 10-minute stretching or a warming up is done before you enter the academy, that actually helps, because that actually keeps you warmed up, and the stretches that you are about to make in the drills that your coach is going to ask is going to be a lot easier, and you are going to have lesser injuries. You're going to be lesser prone to injuries.
Cool. That's
So
a good
these
tip.
are, yeah, absolutely. And then the fourth tip is shadow. Before getting onto the shuttle, you're thinking, of course, when you're crazy, you always want to get onto the court, play with that shuttle. But before that, I feel shadow is important. Anything, do it 50 times or 100 times, do that shadow close to the net, center of the court, back of the court, all six corners, all eight corners. Definitely do that shadow, because that gives you a lot of understanding of how you're holding the racket. And that actually, you finally get into that holding of that racket. If you're holding a racket in a way and you are using your backhand. Now, if you do it 50 times, your hand automatically settles into that grip. It automatically settles into that grip and get that understanding. So that shadow, I feel, is much important, more important, very much.
Very good tips.
So
Yeah.
these are, yeah.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Like, we definitely put them in the shorts, like so everyone can just listen again and again about that. One more question: what do you think is the biggest mistake that player often commit?
Well, we can categorize this question, I guess, this can be like as a beginner or on the court or playing a tournament. So as a beginner, I think, like, mistakes, as I told you, if there's something, because, as I told you, like, I had this chance of getting coached with the world all-rounder Kapil Dev. He told me one thing, that, I was playing with with the bat, and I was hitting something. I just started liking that shot, and I was playing it in a way. So he told me that you're actually not holding the bat, correctly. The shot is okay, but you're not holding it correctly. So I told him, sir, we're just training. And he told me, this is the worst thing. He said, the mistakes that you start doing in training are, they get reflected in your game. So, what you do in your game is just situational. But what you do in your training is in your hands. If you do the training correctly, you'll never fail in your actual. So training, I feel like I see many kids who do not work on their footwork. Of course, we teach them that how to go to and fro, how to do lateral movements or jump or whatever. But then at that time, if they feel tired or they're disinterested or there's something that is bothering them, they tend to drift from that focus of training, which I feel is the worst part. I feel for a beginner, and that because that is completely that is going to reflect in your. If you have wrist movement, and that's wrong, and you do that in your game, in your actual game, you're actually going to lose the game. So you need to work on that training. That is that is not only for the beginners, even if you're a professional or an intermediate player. Even then, if training, I feel, is the most important thing, and we should never take it lightly.
Cool. That's about it for today's podcast. What do you think that we should cover? Anything that you think we should cover as well? Do you have an academy? By the way?
I'm sorry?
Do you have an academy?
No, I do not own an academy. We are a group of people here who actually run an academy. So we don't own, because I go to 2 or 3 academies to mentor and coach people, coach kids. So yes, so this is how my structure is for now, because this is I have more reach to people. I can let people know more about badminton. I can more be introduced, and almost every month we have a tournament in our academies. We try to organize that so that people get awareness, and then whatever you have learned in that 1 month, we can see if there is an improvement or not, or there is something that is wrongly being done. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to the podcast. Okay. So, hey, Pavan, it's been great to have you. Like, if we want to find you in the future, where should we find you?
Okay. See, we can go on to my YouTube channel. That's Pavan Shuttle Stop. So it's P. Do you want me to spell it out, or it's just Pavan Shuttle Stop?
Let's do that in the show.
Yeah. Okay. And the same on Instagram, Pavan Shuttle Stop for the shots. On Instagram also I have, of course, shorts, and this is in something that is more eye-catching and more learning and interactive. So I have introduced it in my Insta channel.
Amazing. I will make sure that I put that all in the show notes. If you guys want to catch his the shops, you can just go onto YouTube channel or Spotify, then you'll be able to find it. And that wraps up another exciting episode of RacketHive. I want to say thank you for Pavan sharing his incredible insight, tips, and stories with us today. For our listener, don't forget to follow Pavan on his YouTube channels for more amazing badminton content. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe buttons and leave us a reviews. It really helps us help our show to reach more badminton enthusiasts like yourself. So join us next week again for another exciting episode. Until then, keep smashing. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.